Hello, my name is Kirioth, and I just finished recording a long video about how permadeath in Hellblade, Senua's sacrifice, is actually kind of cool. Only to discover through someone else, PC Games N, doing research that I have not done, that really you can die over and over and over and over again without losing your progress. So the big controversy for Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is that it had permadeath. It had permadeath, and if you died too many times, it deleted your save file and you had to start all over again. The game told you this probably about half an hour in, I want to say, and people were not happy. Piss was boiled, feathers were rustled, and overall there's been some healthy, if incredibly, how should I put this, aggressive discussion about it. Now, as it turns out, it's pretty much a bluff. Ninja Theory have pulled the wool over your eyes somewhat, and to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that no one thought before now to just run at an enemy over and over again and die to find out what happened, but luckily now someone has, and it was PC Games N, so good work. Instead of just going with the knee-jerk reactions that we've been seeing, which my video was sort of a rebuttal to, encouraging thought, which I know is difficult on Twitter, but there you go. They just went in and tested it. As it turns out, you can die like 50 times and not lose your progress. Your save will not be deleted. It's represented visually through a sort of black tendril that goes up Senua's arm onto her neck, and then at that point, you're supposed to be fucked. Except you're not. Now, I don't know how this affects the end of the game, because I haven't finished the game. And in fact, just before we go into the main meat of this video, which is going to essentially say that they should have put in permadeath. That's going to be interesting to see what people think, but just hear me out when we get to it. I will say that whilst I haven't really played enough of Hellblade to warrant a full review yet, I will say that very much like Pyre, the early experiences I've had have been absolutely exceptional. Which is a weird thing to say, because the game itself, in many ways, is not exceptional. I will say that I think it looks exceptionally pretty. I think it's a wonderful looking game, but the combat isn't particularly complex. You're not going to be unlocking a load of combos or anything like that. And the puzzles are, well, okay. Nothing particularly special. In fact, the combat especially is just you can block, you can dodge, you can do a light attack, or you can do a heavy attack. Pretty standard, let's be honest. There's not a huge amount of variation in enemies, but the game has an aspect that no other game that I can really remember has, which pushes it into that realm of something that I think everyone should experience. Unless you're easily creeped out, which I am, but I'm working through it. And the exceptional part of it comes from the fact that Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is not just an action game, not just the story of a Celtic warrior who's going into hell to fight for the soul of a dead lover. It's also an exploration of psychosis. So Ninja Theory actually created it in collaboration with neuroscientists and people who experience psychosis. It is unsettling as hell. It is incredibly unsettling, it is incredibly disquieting, and from the moment the game loads, you are bombarded from every direction. I recommend, by the way, either playing the game with headphones. Do not play this game without headphones, without sound. Just don't do it. There's no point playing the game without sound. It would be like, I don't even know what it'd be like. Just don't do it. You're missing out on a huge part of the game, the thing that makes it as good as it is. You are literally bombarded from every angle with nice binaural audio, which sounds really good. Just by voices. Voices telling you that you're too weak, you're not strong enough, you should turn round, you should go somewhere else. No, don't go up there. Oh, she's going up there. Why is she going up there? She's going to die. She's going to fail. What if she falls? It's just that. But constantly. It is genuinely unsettling, and I think the audio design is possibly some of the best I've ever heard in any game, and I'm struggling to think of audio that matches it, frankly, which is saying a lot, but there you go. Well, that said, you might think, well, that's going to get a bit rough if the game's about 8 hours long, which I believe it is, 8 to 10 hours or so, and you've got that to contend with the entire time. That doesn't sound great. Well, it's not supposed to. It's not a relaxing game. This is not a game you play to chill out. This is a game you sit down to experience. And I think we need games like that every now and again. So the big controversy, which I always forget how to pronounce, is that because of the psychosis aspect, because of the auditory and visual hallucinations because of the fact that she is journeying literally through hell, fighting inhuman demons and gods, that, well, there is a chance that Senua will actually die. She would die. She would have permadeath. If you failed too often, that would be it. Your save would be deleted. You would have to start all over again. And a lot of people hated that. A lot of people call that out as being stupid and ridiculous. Total Biscuit especially just went off his rocker, which was a bit of an overreaction, saying that the artistic vision is moronic and fucking stupid, and I'm not going to play it because it's outdated and a waste of time. And it was admittedly mostly his tweets that made me think about how we kind of approach death in video games, and how, frankly, the fact that you could have such a visceral reaction to the death of a character in a game indicates to me that we're now at a point where, for the vast majority of games, death is a pointless and worthless mechanic. See, here's the thing. People talk about failure states. They talk about how there are some games where, if you fail, then nothing happens. You just carry on. Well, I'm afraid in most games, in a very real sense, the failure state is still that. Yeah, you have to replay part of an area. Even Dark Souls, which is widely hailed as being quite the punishing game, death isn't even that much of a big deal there either. Yeah, you do have the issue that as you die, especially in Dark Souls 1, you lose health. Your health just goes down and down as you hollow further, and that's bad. But once it gets to a certain point, well, it doesn't get affected anymore. That's it. Your penalty for death is gone. The penalty also, of course, is that your souls go missing and you have to pick them up again. Well, that's fine, but you are given the opportunity to get them back. You can die, and then immediately it'll be as though you hadn't died at all. You do have the added slog of going back through areas that you've already been through, which is part of the punishment, but frankly, a lot of Dark Souls is running through areas that you've already been to anyway, so is it really that much of a punishment when you're expecting to have to do it over and over again? Even in games like Darkest Dungeon, where if you lose a group to death, that's bad, but you can always build up another group. It's not world-ending, it's not going to literally make you lose the game, unless you have severely, severely fucked it up. Death in games is just being viewed as a punishment. You fucked it up, you got it wrong, now you've got to do that bit again. That's what death is in video games, in the vast majority of them anyway. There are some exceptions, obviously, but by and large, death has lost its impact. It's lost the emotions that should be attached to something as theoretically devastating as your character actually dying in game. And that's because there are very few consequences to it, and what consequences there are can be circumvented or just ignored. That's not the case in Hellblade, and, well, that was allegedly not the case in Hellblade. It turns out that because it's basically a bluff, that threat is no longer there, that the threat of your Senua dying and having to start all over again isn't real, and I genuinely think that's a shame. I honestly, truly think that Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice should have had a functional, working permadeath. It should have had what they said it had, which is that if you die too often, your save game is wiped, and you have to start all over again. And you might think I'm mental for saying that, but I think that something that just is not explored often enough, and this is the perfect platform to explore this, because of just what the game is, what Hellblade is. I don't think that death is treated as an end often enough in video games. And Hellblade would have been, I think, one of the most perfect ways to have it treated, not as a punishment, but as an alternate ending. See, here's the thing. Senua is a Celtic warrior travelling through hell, fighting inhuman foes, battling gods. She's also suffering from psychosis. She is battling not just physically, but mentally, constantly. She is barraged endlessly with negativity, voices, just visions, hallucinations, auditory and visually. To expect Senua to actually achieve that It's a lot to expect, and should she succeed, it is genuinely amazing. Should she die, why does that have to be a punishment? See, what if Hellblade had essentially two endings? One ending, the ending that you prefer, the ending that most people would want, is that you succeed. When you actually go through this journey, when Senua manages to travel through hell and do what she needs to do, she lives. She succeeds. You can have any number of variations on that as you like, but that is the main ending. She lives. What if the other ending is that she dies? Why can't the other ending be that Senua, who is battered by psychosis, who is battered physically and mentally, isn't able to achieve? What if she can't do it? What if that's okay? What if, rather than death in this video game simply being a minor stumbling block, why can't it be an alternative? Why can't it be something that has an actual impact? Why can't it be the end of Senua's story? There are countless games with good endings and bad endings. There are countless games where if you mess something up partway through, then the end result is that things do not go your way. But even rarer than that is the ending where your character simply doesn't survive at all. I think it's genuinely a shame that Hellblade isn't exploring that. I think it's genuinely a shame that you don't have that cut-off point where you haven't got the good ending. You've got the realistic ending. You've got the ending where this human does not overcome. This human does not prevail. Instead, this human does what so many other humans have done. And they fail. They can't carry on. They aren't able to keep living. They aren't able to succeed in the task they want to succeed at. They just die. The fact that that's not an option now, as far as I know, I never know what the end of the game actually is. When I get there, I'll tell you. The fact that that doesn't seem to be an option, the fact that that hasn't been implemented, I think is actually a shame. And I think it's a missed opportunity. And I think that an actual death of a playable character in a video game that had such a real world impact would have been far more emotional, impactful than what we usually get from death in video games. Anyway, that's what I think. I'm sure any number of you will completely disagree, but I'd be interested to hear what you think about all of this. What I'm going to do now is skip the end slate for once. You already know what to do anyway, like, sub, all of that shit. Instead, I'm going to put the intro to the game at the end of this video. I think you should watch it. Make sure you put headphones on, make sure you listen carefully, and don't enjoy the experience because I don't know if it is actually enjoyable, but just let it flow over you, and then imagine hearing 5, 6, 7 hours of that, only for the character to not succeed, only for the character to actually die, and then tell me that that wouldn't be more impactful than just carrying on as though nothing was wrong. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Hello. Who are you? Doesn't matter. Welcome. You're safe with me. I'll be right here, nice and close so I can speak without alerting the others. Let me tell you about Senua. Her story has already come to an end, but now it begins anew.
What's happening? It's breathing. He knows she's getting closer.
He can feel her coming closer.
They know you're here. They're watching. They're watching.
This is a journey deep into darkness. There will be no more stories after this one.
Why is she doing this?
They're watching.
She wants to rescue him.
He's already
They can
dead.
feel you coming. Quiet. Oh, how rude of me. I never told you of the others. You hear them too, right? They've been around ever since the tragedy. Well, that's not quite true. Some are old, some are new, but they've changed. I think the darkness changed them, just like it changed her.
Look around you. Can you see them? Over there. Why isn't she looking? Why aren't you looking?
He's in Helheim. Look, up ahead.
In Helheim.
You see it too?
You promised you came here.
Yes. It is real after all. She's finally arrived in the land of mist and fog. The place the Northmen call Hell.
Senua.
Go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Go back.
It's them. They're here.
Can you see them?
Look around and you will see them. The drowned, the sick, the slain. Here they lie, rotting in the fields and rivers of hell. But the dead don't always lie still here. This is not a place of rest. You can't do this. Go back, go back. They're watching. Can you feel them watching? They're watching her.
You're so close to the darkness. Go back. Can you feel it?
What is she thinking? I can tell you. She's afraid. Wouldn't you be? You'd think she would get used to it by now after so many years. But the darkness, it just builds onto itself, growing stronger, towering over her. You might try and ignore it, turn away. But it's always there, just out of sight, where you're most vulnerable. It's like it knows that just enough light is all you need to see its suffocating power.
They can feel you.
You might think she's brave to go on this journey on her own, but it isn't bravery that drives her. Bravery only means something to those afraid of death. Senua's fear runs far, far deeper.
She can't hear them.
What is she looking at? What is she leaving behind?
What are you doing?
I know what she's thinking. I hear her thoughts.
What are you doing here?
It's not too late to get into the boat and go back.
That's too much.
No one will judge her. No one will ever know.
I know you want to.
Oh, she heard us.
She's not going back.
There's no going back.
Idiots. You can't do it.
Senua pushes away a world that conspired to cause so much suffering. There's nothing to go back to, and worse to look forward to.